Imagine waking up in a room that feels like a cage, walls closing in with every thought, every craving screaming louder than your heartbeat. That was my life, tangled in addiction's grip, where hope seemed like a distant, flickering light barely holding on. But here's the twist. The very chains I thought would break me became the links that connected me to a new purpose. For years, I battled the invisible war inside, each day a mountain of self-doubt, shame, and isolation. The hardest part, believing I could ever be enough to break free. The obstacles weren't just the substance. They were the voices in my head whispering I was unworthy, that failure was inevitable. I faced nights where the only warmth was the cold bottle, and mornings where the mirror reflected a stranger's face. Then, something shifted. Not a lightning bolt, not a sudden revelation, but a quiet moment of clarity during a sleepless night. I decided to stop running, from myself, from my past, from the fear that held me hostage. I began to rewrite my story, one small step at a time. The first strategy, reclaiming my mornings. Instead of spiraling into old patterns, I started with a simple ritual, breathing deeply, stretching my body, and writing 3 things I was grateful for. It wasn't magic, but it was medicine. Slowly, those moments built a fortress of resilience around my mind. Next, I discovered the power of storytelling, not just my own, but those of others walking the path to healing. I reached out, listened without judgment, and shared my struggles openly. Vulnerability became my bridge, turning isolation into connection. Together, we mapped out personalized paths, tiny, achievable goals that honored each person's unique journey. I also embraced creativity as a lifeline, painting raw emotions onto canvases, crafting poetry from pain, and dancing through the dark nights transformed despair into expression. This wasn't about perfection, it was about release, a visual diary of progress, etched in colors and words. But the real breakthrough came with the practice of radical acceptance. Instead of fighting the past or denying the pain, I learned to sit with it, to hold it gently, like a fragile bird. This shift dismantled the walls of resistance and opened doors to genuine healing. Today, I'm not just a survivor, I'm a guide lighting the way for others lost in the shadows. Through workshops, one-on-one sessions, and community circles, I help people craft their own maps out of darkness. The transformation isn't about erasing scars, but wearing them as badges of courage. Here's what you can take from my journey. Create small, intentional rituals that anchor your day and ground your mind. 2. Seek connection through authentic sharing. Vulnerability is a strength, not a weakness. 3. Use creative outlets to translate pain into healing energy. 4. Practice radical acceptance. Embrace your story fully to move forward. Remember, healing isn't a straight line, but a mosaic of moments where you choose to rise again. If I can turn my brokenness into a beacon for others, so can you. The path may be rugged, but every step taken with courage carves out a new horizon. Your story is waiting to be told. Let it be one of resilience, hope, and transformation. But let me take you deeper into this journey, to the layers beneath the surface struggles, to the moments that defined my transformation, and the lessons that have shaped the work I do today. Addiction isn't just about the substance or behavior, it's about the story we tell ourselves about who we are and what we deserve. For so long, I believed I was defined by my failures, trapped in a narrative of defeat. That belief was the true prison. One turning point came when I realized that healing required more than just abstinence. It required reconnection to my own humanity. I started to explore mindfulness, learning to observe my thoughts without judgment. Instead of fighting cravings, I began to acknowledge them as signals, not commands. This shift was profound. It gave me space between impulse and action, where choice could live. In those quiet moments of awareness, I found the courage to face the parts of myself I had long ignored. The child who felt unseen, the adult overwhelmed by shame, the spirit yearning for meaning. Embracing these fragments wasn't easy. It meant sitting with discomfort, allowing tears to fall, and confronting truths I had buried deep. I also learned the importance of environment, surrounding myself with people who believed in my potential. Community became a lifeline. In group meetings, I saw reflections of my own pain and resilience. Shared stories became lessons and shared laughter, medicine. I wasn't alone, and that realization shattered the isolation that had fueled my addiction. Creating routines helped me regain control, but it was the intentionality behind them that made the difference. Morning rituals weren't just habits, they were declarations of self-worth. Each breath, each stretch, each word of gratitude was a brick in the foundation of my new life. Storytelling, both listening and sharing, opened doors I didn't know existed. When I spoke my truth, I dismantled shame. When I listened, I found wisdom and empathy. These connections wove a safety net that caught me when I stumbled. Creativity became a language for the inexpressible. Painting was more than art. It was a dialogue with my soul. Poetry gave voice to pain and hope alike. Movement released energy that words could not capture. Through creativity, I transformed suffering into something tangible and beautiful. Perhaps the most challenging lesson was radical acceptance. It's tempting to fight the past or wish it away, but true healing comes from embracing all parts of our story. Sitting with pain, acknowledging mistakes, forgiving myself. These acts of compassion dismantled the walls I had built to protect my heart. Now, as I guide others, I witness the power of these principles multiplied. Each person's journey is unique, yet the themes of connection, creativity, acceptance, and intentionality resonate universally. Together, we build pathways through darkness toward light. If you find yourself trapped in a cage of your own making or circumstance, know that freedom is possible. It begins with a single choice: to breathe, to reach out, to create, to accept. Healing is not about perfection or speed. It is about persistence, grace, and the courage to begin again each day. Your story matters. Your struggles are not signs of weakness, but marks of strength. Wear your scars as badges of honor, symbols of battles fought and won. Every step forward, no matter how small, is a victory. So rise with me. Let us build a community where brokenness is met with compassion, where stories transform into bridges, and where hope is not a distant flicker, but a blazing light guiding the way. Remember, this is your journey. Take it one moment, one breath, one story at a time. The horizon is waiting, and your resilience is the compass that will lead you there.